The Spitfire, a fighter aircraft with a combat record much like the spirit of the British people during World War II, second to none. At a time when the British people felt their way of life was in danger of being forcibly changed forever, the Spitfire became a symbol of their courage. To the British nation, it was more than just another aircraft that had helped to win the war. Surprisingly small, balancing on wheels that seemed almost too close together, with a tiny cockpit and very thin wings, the name Spitfire didn't really represent the gracefulness of this aircraft. No one remembers the gallant days of the Spitfire better than World War II veteran Jerry Billing. He flew years ago during the war, and today he's still flying, this 40-year-old Vickers Supermarine Spitfire. He knows this aircraft inside out.
It was made by Mitchell, was the designer of it, and it was made before the war, and it came out just at the right time. Supermarine Works was actually started by my great-uncle, who was in England. They were seafaring folk at that point, but they started it.
Yeah. Because I don't want that peeling off and lift control or something. The high speed of that goes, I've had her. Yeah.
Jerry keeps a close eye on the Spitfire, making sure that everything is safe and secure for his air show performances. When not performing, the Spitfire stays closely guarded in Chicago. Jerry Billings, I feel like I've stepped back into 1942. After the war, it sort of ceased its usefulness. Is that
Yes, pretty well. The war is over, and they have many, many of them, and they are a weapon, so they sort of destroyed them because of, you know, if someone got a hold, it's a pretty powerful weapon to have.
And so literally hundreds of Spitfires were just junked?
They were chopped, yes. They melted down. That's exactly right. This one was made in 1944, and went from England to the continent, served in Belgium. It saw action, shot aircraft down, and then it went into the Belgium Air Force, and later on it was a drogue tow for years, and then converted to the civilian license. And Cliff Robertson got a hold of it. He played in The Longest Day,
right.
bought it back, and it was dressed up, put a new engine in, and I brought it from Los Angeles to Chicago, where it was all refurbished and put in its present state, which is immaculate, actually, as you can see.
Tell me what the use of this plane is right now, as far as you're concerned, Jerry. What do you do with it?
Well, actually, it's living history. This is what the situation is right now. You're seeing an aircraft that's old, it's history. It's in museum pieces. And I think people are very fortunate to see the aircraft flying right now. And I'm fortunate to be able to fly with it. And having flown during the war and able to sit here and fly it again, which is very good. Every time you fly the thing, it's to me it's exciting. Every time, the first time I flew it and did aerobatics with it, I just can't seem to do enough aerobatics with it because it's so graceful. It's very easy to do aerobatics. You put the nose with the controls exactly where you want it, and it responds.
You've got to have a lot of faith in this machine, I guess you do.
Yes, I've been sitting on, had this strapped on my back since I was, before I was 21 years old. At 21st birthday, I was sitting in the cockpit of it.
And you flew missions?
They call them sorties. The Yanks call them missions, yeah.
I see. Okay. Can you tell me what a sortie would be like in those days, where you would leave from and where you would go and what would
Well, it depends. This is a defensive type fighter. The Yankees had the Mustang. It was an offensive, escorting. This, like in Malta in 42, on a scramble, you could take off, hang it on its prop, be up in the middle of it for 5 or 6 minutes, 3 or 4 minute combat, or 5 minutes, and half along, be home in 15 minutes or so.
Jerry Billings shares a past that is as colorful as the Spit. As a veteran of the Royal Canadian Air Force and an international Spitfire squadron, he was shot down 3 times during the war, but escaped capture.
I went over to England in 1941, and I joined a training unit very briefly and flew Hurricanes, and then went straight on to Spitfires. This is in Malta in 42, and just had a raid on the aerodrome, and that's the aircraft that I had. It was just newly furbished, but the bomb blast and everything else blew the pins and everything else right on top of it. You can see the hell of a mess. There's a wheel at the leading edge. They took the cannons out and everything and put it in another one, but that's rather sad to see a Spit like that. This is the city of Valletta in Malta during some of the raids, and I happened to be in town, and there's, you can see how much damage was done. A lot of the buildings were absolutely blasted. Yeah, this is in 42, and we're just finishing our morning standby, about ready to go downtown. That's me on the left, and Johnny Miller, who came from Toronto, as a matter of fact, on the right. You can see the bomb damage in the buildings in the background. I was with the Czechs and Poles on 19 Squadron, and this is one of the badges one of the fellows gave me. It's pure silver, and I've retained it all this time.
And something else Jerry has kept all these years is his respect for this aircraft. By today's standards, the Spitfire is a sorely under-equipped defensive fighter, but in its day, there was none to match it. Jerry Billings says the Spitfire is priceless, and he's probably right. Actor Cliff Robertson, who owns this plane, has it insured for $2.4 million. But to see this magnificent aircraft in flight again calls up memories and thrills that are beyond dollars and beyond words.